Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Wait for Feedback. I have been with the company, over 10,000 employees, for 4 years, and switched departments last year due to relocation to another country and changed my contract to be fully remote. I really enjoyed the company and position, as well as daily tasks, and was challenged in many ways and learned a fair bit. But it wasn't a position with contractual remote possibility, so I decided to change departments to a fully remote position. The new team was very small, with just 4 people, including the manager. When I joined the team, I started by organizing their chaos into a workable structure and roadmap strategy on how we can achieve the completion of the open tasks and requests. My manager at that time was useless, but we got along fine, and he let me do my thing. However, there are certain types of requests and changes where I do not have the authority to approve, and it needs to go through my manager to the higher ups for approval. In all that time, all the requests that I forwarded for approval or just feedback were still open and waiting. No matter how many one-on-one or team meetings we had, they are being pushed further out pending approval. For the first few months, I had already completed all assigned tasks where possible and helped out in other teams when I could. This particular manager was promoted after 3 months of me joining and hired his replacement. The new manager joined us 3 months later and reports to my old manager. At this point, I mainly worked with other teams and helped them. All my tasks are waiting for approval and no new tasks were given. I'm somewhat relaxed with new people during the onboarding process and make sure they have time to digest it all properly and understand the background. So again, 3 months later, and having learned what type my new manager is, I gave up on explaining the complex environment and what is required to be able to deliver results for us as a team. At this point, I have worked in that team for 9 months, onboarded my new manager, and completed everything I could complete, and had my colleagues get on with their own work. Naturally, other teams didn't always need my help, so I was a bit idle for most of my manager's onboarding time. Over and over again have I stated to my new manager that I have nothing to do unless open tasks are given approval or new ones are assigned to me, and I asked to please escalate if any of it really needs to be done. 2 months ago, my new manager exploded on me during a meeting to stop asking for approval on the open tasks and wait for feedback. I specifically sent a follow-up email to get that in writing and promptly received a response back to wait for feedback on new tasks. Well, that's what I do now. I wait and do nothing, besides the weekly team meeting where I have no updates. I also no longer help out in other teams, because of what my manager said. If the teams really needed my help, they have to go through my new manager, and any requests received were rejected. My manager's boss knows all of this from his own time managing the team. I have spoken to the big bosses, CEO and CTO, about it and followed it up twice with an email, including everything that is still open, including items he needs to approve himself. So I think they are very well aware of the situation. It just doesn't have priority right now. All evidence is saved in an accessible team space, and I have a personal copy. Both I keep updated when something comes up. Our new manager is early 60s and should retire soonish. We had an impromptu team meeting yesterday without the manager, where we basically all laughed about the situation, but were sad at the same time that we could not use our skills. Personally, I decided to ride this wave and see where it goes, because, let's be honest, who doesn't enjoy being paid without having to work? The next story is called Translated. During the summer, I decided to put my English skills to use in my part-time job. I work at a local tiny cafe in a small city in the middle of nowhere, so I often go around and just say stuff like, "Oh, hey, that shirt means this and this," and people are just somewhat surprised and ask me questions about how I know English so well, and yada yada yada. The usual European elderly people talk. Well, there was this cousin of mine that just used to pass by for a cup of coffee on the way to work. He was very into video games and books and social media. The usual person in the mid-20s if you ask me. One day he decided to ask me, "Hey, I want to learn English too. Can you help?" And I was somewhat surprised, because nowadays if you want to learn any language, you just download an app and do daily exercises, or just watch movies in that language. I told him just that, but he wasn't satisfied. He said he needs someone to be with him, to check on how he evolves in the language. I know my cousin fairly well, we talk daily, so he wasn't shocked when I asked for his real reason. There's this one English girl that is a poet. She's fine, and I wanna hook up with her. I have this cool poem for her. I stood there for 3 minutes in silence. He just wanted to learn the language for a good night. Obviously, I said that it wasn't worth all the work, and that he could just let me see the poem and let me translate it. He refused first, but then, after some back and forth, he ended up agreeing, but he agreed in a not so thankful tone. And he said, "Don't you dare change a thing in the poem, just translate it literally, and that's it." Okay, I'll translate it literally, just for you, since you asked so nicely. Your eyes is how the sky blue, stone's brilliance on night starry. I myself ask if you can see the mines, because definitively I can see the yours the day all. Portuguese to English, if you are wondering which funny language is this. The last story is called Karen Boss. I used to work at a popular grocery store that's known for rolling over for customers. I started working for this grocery store during my gap year, before college. I wanted to save up some money before taking on the crippling burden that is student loans. When I started, the job was easy enough and the vast amount of people were kind. I didn't have to deal with a lot of Karens and the hours were flexible. I really enjoyed my co-workers and managers. Life seemed great, that is until our department got a new boss. I don't know what it is about new bosses, but they always have to go on a power trip to consolidate power and to show everyone they mean business. Our Karen manager went around the department and started criticizing people for the stupidest things. Even if we were doing our job correctly, she would show up and tell us to work faster, and we were stealing company time. We all hated her, but she is our boss, so we just tried to do what we were told. I pride myself on finding the quickest and most efficient way to do our job. I applied this to any of my duties for the day. It just so happened that the end of the day was coming up, and we had to return products that customers left behind. Non-perishable, of course. I was voluntold to go do it. This wasn't an issue, as I had done this plenty of times before. I went about my task and finished in about 10 minutes. The second I got done, Karen manager called me into her office. Close the door. Now, do you know why I called you in here? No? I'm trying to improve efficiency in the department, and you took way too long to do those go-backs. I won't tolerate people slacking off in my department. Do you understand? I wasn't slacking off, trying to defend myself. I was just cutting me off, she reiterated. Do you understand? Knowing I was being railroaded, I just sighed and said yes. To ensure you don't slack off again, you are forbidden from doing any more go-backs. I don't care if the store manager tells you otherwise. This is my department, and you will do as I say. I'm the boss. I get a smile on my face as I realize what she just said. I nod my head and reply, understood. I won't do go-backs no matter what. My Karen manager replied with an umbrage smile and said, good, now go back to work and don't forget what I said. I am the boss. I turned around so she couldn't see my grin and said, don't worry. Message received loud and clear. A few days go by without incident until I finally get a chance to put my malicious compliance into action. The front desk supervisor thought that the go-back card was full and asked me to return the products. I smile and say, sorry supervisor. Karen manager said I was wasting time and I am no longer allowed to return products. The supervisor gives me a weird look, but just shrugs and tells another coworker to do it instead. This cycle continues on for the next month. One day, the store manager happens to be manning the front desk. The end of the day rolls around and he looks at me and says, we have a lot of go-backs. I need you to return them. Sorry store manager. I'm not allowed to do go-backs anymore on account of slacking off. Store manager looks frustrated and says, I don't care if you are allowed to or not. I am telling you to take these back. Sorry, store manager. Karen manager told me I am not to do any more go-backs, no matter what, and I'd better follow her orders. Karen manager told me that this is her department and that she is the boss. The store manager looked really upset and stormed into the manager's office. A few minutes later, the store manager called Karen manager to his office over the intercom. Karen manager came waddling out of her office and went into the store manager's office. The door closed and we could all hear muffled yelling. About 10 minutes later, the door opened and Karen manager shuffled out. She glared daggers at me and told me to come to her office. I happily complied and said, yes, Karen manager, how can I be of assistance? You are allowed to do go-backs again. That is all. I smirked and left her office, happy that I could put a Karen in her place. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.